My brother Matthew, 31, and I, 27 female, are very close and grew up being best friends. Later this summer, I'm getting married to my fiance, Alex, 30 male, and Matthew is the best man. Matthew and Alex are close friends, and my brother organised the bachelor party trip. During this trip, he met this girl named Marla, late 20s, and went on one date with her, and they flirted but didn't kiss. He even told me he found her cute but a little annoying because she wanted to text every day. I didn't think much of it because her city is on the other side of the country. Fast forward a few weeks and Marla travelled to our city to visit family and ended up reconnecting with my brother. He fell for her hard and fast, and they decided by the end of her trip to try to date. Nothing against it, I thought it was very rushed. Still, I was in a long-distance relationship with Alex for a while because of life circumstances before we got engaged. Matthew asked me for Marla to be his date for the wedding reception and for the rehearsal dinner, which I again found a little premature but agreed nonetheless. More recently, I accidentally eavesdropped a conversation between Matthew and Alex, including some private discussions about Marla's intimate prowess. I pretended I didn't hear it, but I was extremely triggered because Alex seemed a little too interested. I was a little disgusted that my brother would discuss his intimacy like that. A few days later, Alex and I finally met Marla in person. She was nice and pretty, although I was surprised because she's not my brother's usual type. She's also from a different ethnic and religious background. No matter how much she tried socializing with me, I confess I was still upset and wasn't very nice to her. Matthew noticed and confronted me over text, so I called him and told him why I was upset and didn't want his girlfriend at the wedding. I did say some explicit things, called Marla names, which I regret, and told my brother that he wasn't in love, he was just in lust because she did some unusual bed stuff. Alex ended up hearing the call and tried reasoning with me. He did say he was sorry for engaging in this type of conversation. I've forgiven him, but he thinks we should let Matthew bring Marla to the wedding. My parents are also on Matthew's side and are pressuring me, they help pay for the wedding, saying that my brother really likes this girl, etc. As far as I know, she's unaware of the whole problem. Honestly, for me, it's almost a matter of honour. I don't see why I should have to see this person I don't know, even at my rehearsal dinner and reception, just because my brother is throwing a tantrum. It is my wedding, not his. He's threatening not to attend if I don't let it go. Am I the idiot for disinviting my brother's girlfriend from my wedding after hearing my brother discuss his personal, intimate life with my fiancé? You are the idiot. You don't dislike her because of something she did. You dislike her because of things other people did to her. You don't even know if she's comfortable with your brother sharing these intimate things about their private life. Yet you act as though she somehow did something to you. You already told your brother she should come, so now you must be true to your word. Your insecurities are your problem to deal with. That's the kicker. Who knows if the brother was even being truthful? Go off on Alex and Matt, but what did Marla do to deserve this? The only time she met you, you weren't nice to her. Then you tried to shame her behind her back after eavesdropping on a private convo. You're trying to hide your jealousy and prejudice behind honour. What honour? Exactly. I'm sorry, OP. This is for whose honour exactly? Do you not want her at the wedding because you think your fiancé is mind-cheating? Or because you're jealous? Or because you're shaming her? You don't like this girl because of her prowess, LOL, and being from another race and religion. Just wow! You're acting like a bigot and misogynist all at once. Yes, you're the idiot for denying your own brother a +1 because you, for whatever reason, are threatened by what she does in bed with your brother. Where does OP get off censoring her brother's intimate life? The number of women with creepy jealous feelings about their brother's mate is damn high. I dated 3 men in my 20s that had messed up sisters like that. So gross and so much more common than anyone ever wants to acknowledge. Maybe you should get some therapy before you get married. So I, a teen male, am on vacation with my family. The people on the trip are me, my parents, my Aunt Jen and my cousins Oliver, Tween and Luna, young grammar school. My mom is super airline savvy, so she managed to get us all seated together in a line. My parents and I were on one side of the aisle and my aunts and cousins were across from us. Anyway, I brought my tablet, which I bought with my own money, on the flight so I could watch Netflix, as it was a pretty long flight. About 20 minutes after takeoff, Luna starts fussing with her mom about something. I turn up the volume on my headphones. Then I feel a tap on my shoulder from Luna, who has the aisle seat. I'm also in the aisle seat. Dialogue is rough since my memory isn't the best. Luna: "Hey, Mommy said I can play on your tablet, give it to me." Me: "No, I'm using it right now, if you ask nicely when I'm done with my episode." Luna: "But she said I could." Me: "I don't care." Luna: "Huff: Mummy, I can play with my name's tablet, right?" Jen: That's right, honey. Luna: See? She said so. Me: It's my tablet, not your mom's. She can't make me give it to you like she can with Oliver. Now leave me alone. I then put my headphones back on and turn up the volume again, drowning out any more whining. About 20 minutes later, my dad taps me on the shoulder and asks if my episode is over because my cousins are getting pretty noisy and my aunt needs a break. I can definitely hear both of them whining and borderline yelling at my aunt that they're bored. Here's where I might be the idiot. I decided that I wanted to keep watching my show and that entertaining my cousins wasn't my job. I say that if Luna can ask nicely, she and Oliver can play for 10 minutes, knowing full well that Luna won't ask nicely because she's spoiled. Jen: Hey Luna, ask my name nicely if you can play. Luna: My name: Can I play? Me: What's the magic word? Luna: Give it. Me: Sorry, that's not the magic word. You don't get to play. I put my headphones back on and turn the volume back up, keeping it that way for the rest of the flight, save for the few times my parents asked me to give my cousins another chance, to which I said no. After the flight, my mum said that what I did was petty and made things unnecessarily difficult for my aunt on the flight. I know what I did was petty, but does it make me an idiot? Not the idiot. Your aunt is teaching your cousins to be entitled, and your parents are enabling her. Good job for standing your ground. Seriously, what sane person brings two young kids on a flight without having a carry-on bag full of activities? Tablet, handheld video games, books, colouring books, card games, travel-size board games. So many options. Someone needs to teach Auntie J and her kids some manners. How does Auntie J think she can give permission to use something that isn't hers? And Luna hasn't a clue about politely asking. Well, how could she? Her mom can't teach her how to behave because she doesn't know how to herself. Good on you for showing them their tactics don't work. Yes, this is my observation too. Aunt J doesn't have boundaries, and Luna hasn't learned how to be polite and execute good manners. Bad manners should not be rewarded. OP, ask your parents why they didn't hand over their smartphones to make your aunt's flight easier if it was so important to them. So I, 39 male, live with my wife across the street from a family, Dan and Gina, and their 3 kids, the oldest of which is a young teen boy named Max. I recently took a week-long vacation and made a deal with Max, communication with his parents, that if he came to my house once a day when I was gone to care for my cat, I'd pay him $50. He had 3 main tasks: refill her water dish and automatic feeder, brush her, clean her litter box every other day. When I returned, I found my poor kitty noticeably skinnier, with knots in her fur and a litter box with a week's worth of urine and feces. I took the next hour to give my kitty some TLC and make up for Max's incompetence. The next day, Gina and Max rang my doorbell and Gina conversed politely before asking about the money. I told her how badly Max had cared for my cat and Gina apologised. She then said that, due to his actions, that it would be fine to pay him only $20. I told her no, I would not be paying him anything because it was clear that he never came over at all. Gina argued that I couldn't know that. True, I don't have cameras, and that he's just a kid and he sacrificed his free time to get paid. That I should at least give him $10 as a learning experience. I refused and shut the door on them. Now, I respect workers and their time, and I understand that when you hire someone, you pay for their time and their skill. I think Max didn't give his skill, and I have a strong suspicion that he didn't give his time either. However, I realise I could be wrong, and I don't want to make trouble between my wife and Gina as they're good friends. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You don't get consolation prizes for not showing up at work in the real world, and Max should learn that now. Your boss isn't going to give you part of your pay. No call, no show. You get fired. The fact that his mother apologised to you instead of Max shows he learned nothing. Oh, I hope your kitty is okay. What enrages me is that the cat could have become very sick from a lack of water, and Gina knows he didn't do the work considering how quickly she dropped how much to pay the kid. Also, I bet she gave Max $50 herself so he wouldn't be disappointed. She absolutely did this, and one day she will yell at his boss for firing him. Max could have just shown up once, plopped a huge bowl of water and a big pile of cat food on the floor, and the cat wouldn't have been on the verge of dying. If the mom keeps harassing you, hand her a bill for your time spent convalescing your cat due to her kid's neglect. Also, see if any of your neighbours might have an outdoor security camera pointed at your house to see if he actually bothered to show up. I, 25 female, am dating Chris, 28 male, and we've been together for 2 years now and he's close with my family. For background, my family isn't extremely religious or anything, but are more on the traditional side in terms of certain behaviours where it's like, If you want to do it, just do it behind closed doors. So, for example, smoking or excessive drinking will definitely not pass in front of certain members. They don't care if you do it personally, but don't indulge when the family is gathered together. Chris is similar, so it hasn't been a problem when he's with my family and they respect that. On the other hand, his family is very different. I don't mind when I'm with them, it's not a big deal for me personally. But the issue arose because my parents have a beach house. They hosted a gathering this past weekend and invited Chris's family to stop by to get to know them better. So Chris and I sat his family down in advance to let them know that we would appreciate it if they didn't drink too much and smoke, and to be courteous of cultural differences between the families regarding stuff like this. They came down and all was well with his parents, but his sister Lizzie, 22, was an absolute mess. As soon as she got there, she overindulged and kept trying to offer my underage cousins drinks, kept smoking around literal children, and took off her bathing suit top of the pool for tanning purposes in front of my entire family. My mom then kindly asked her to cover up, but Lizzie just looked at her and didn't do anything. It got to the point that my parents kept saying they were uncomfortable in their own home, so I pulled her aside to help her sober up and reminded her about what Chris and I asked regarding behaviour while here. Immediately, she started saying that Chris and I are misogynistic for trying to tell a grown woman how to wear her bikini, said you should never ask a woman to cover up for other people's comfort, and that she's a guest and my parents need to get over their archaic values. At this point, I just sternly asked her to leave, and she refused, but Chris forced her to and drove her home. But now, some of their relatives are texting both of us, saying my family is extremely rude, and that Chris shouldn't even think about marrying into such a conservative family, because we don't like certain kinds of behaviour. I don't think I did anything wrong because my parents deserve to kick people out from their home that disrespect their wishes and kindness. Also, I found it extremely disappointing that Lizzie knew beforehand what it would be like, still came, chose to behave exactly as I'd asked her not to. But regardless of how I explain my side, Chris's family basically hates me and thinks my family is full of uptight idiots. So now I'm worried I've ruined the relationship with his side if we choose to get married down the road. Am I the idiot? Should I just let it go? Whoa, this girl needs help. The public disturbance is not misogynistic in the slightest. You are not the idiot. Sounds like she went out of her way to be the worst house guest possible. She did everything possible to scandalize your parents and make them uncomfortable in their own home. Right? Sounds like Lizzie is on the Hot Mess Express. Choo-choo. It doesn't even matter that your family is conservative. It matters that the sister made no effort to be a good guest. Part of being a good guest is to read the room and behave in a way that matches the energy of other guests. Girl, honestly, what admiration are you trying to get from these people? The real issue is that Chris's family doesn't understand the context and basic etiquette. They were guests. Any reasonable person would just sit around, chit-chat and eat instead of getting blasted and fighting with the hosts. Even my most degenerate friends know not to make a scene when necessary. If you can't expect them to put in that little effort, why are you trying to make them like you? Oh, and these are the people who will use the OP being snobby and uptight as an excuse to try and vex or humiliate OP as often as possible. So head them off at the pass. As long as you and Chris are happy together and he has your back, you can just stay away from them and stop inviting them to things. If I were you, I'd elope to avoid a bunch of trashy drunks ruining your wedding. I don't drink for religious reasons, but my husband sometimes does. He was having drinks with his brother and two friends at our house, and even though I've never wanted to try alcohol before, I was tempted, so I took a sip of his. We've always shared food and drinks in the past, so I didn't expect him to be upset, but he got annoyed and snatched the glass away, asked me what I was doing, and told me I couldn't drink that. I told him I wanted to see what it tasted like, but he told me I couldn't drink it and that I should have asked him first. I said fine, but honestly I was annoyed as well. So I brought it up once our guests left and we fought over it because he told me I wasn't supposed to drink. My husband isn't religious, and even after I told him I wanted to try it, he wouldn't stop telling me I couldn't, so I don't know what his problem was. He kept saying that I wouldn't like it and how he thought I would get drunk easily, so it wasn't a good idea for me to drink. At one point he was going on about how I'd be throwing up and he'd have to look after me, which I thought was an exaggeration since I only had a small sip. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What a massive overreaction on his part. Given you say he's not religious, it makes absolutely no sense. I can only think of bad things, mainly that he sounds awfully controlling. It's obvious, but I'll say it anyway. If you're of legal age, which you are because you're married, You absolutely can drink alcohol. You shouldn't drink from his glass if he doesn't like it, but you can drink. You don't need his permission or approval. I don't know, it's a red flag, but without much more context, it's just an out-of-the-blue overreaction. Did he have something in that drink? I don't get it. He was weird. I doubt it. I think this is a case of you both being of the same religion. Still, he isn't religious, for him, but then expects women to follow the religion. Are there any female members of his family that drink? His sister? Mum? I put my $10 on this number. But wait, women aren't allowed to gamble, or vote, or have an opinion. He is trying to police your beliefs and how you practice your faith. In addition, there is a huge difference between having a sip and drinking. This is controlling behavior and not cool. It's a total red flag, OP. He's dishing up some straight-up misogyny here. If he doesn't act that way with other women, it's even more of a warning sign. It can be an indicator that he considers you a possession, not a person capable of making adult decisions. I don't think he cares if I follow our religion or not. At least he's never cared before, and he only converted so we could get married and doesn't really follow the religion. Still, we had to make other concessions for my religion, such as not allowing certain foods in the house and other things. Also, there are women in his family that drink, but they're all atheists or non-religious. So he converted to marry you. That missing detail may explain why he cares so much. Allow me to be the devil's advocate. You required that he convert to marry you. Perhaps he perceived your drinking as a sign that you don't really take your religion that seriously, and he converted for nothing. I get why he's upset. He didn't handle it well, that's for sure, but I do understand.